So today we're going to be fixing the borders of the world. Yes, that's right. We're going back to our origins. This channel started, or I guess this mapping channel started on fixing the borders, and I thought for the last mapping video of this year, we'll just go ahead and do a fixing the borders video. If you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are once again aiming for 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We're currently at 87,000. We can at least try to get to 90k because 100k, that seems a little bit out of possibility at this point. But yeah, we have until this Saturday to get to 90k, so make sure to subscribe, get other people to subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump right into this video. So we're going to be starting off over here in North America with the United States and Canada. Now there's a very obvious problem with these two countries' borders, and that's that it is well, annoying. And what I mean by that is that Alaska exists as part of the United States, and in terms of like the US itself, they need Alaska because it's very resource heavy. I mean, it's a big beneficiary for the United States, but we're just going to be ignoring all that political stuff and you know how helpful it is. We're just going to be fixing it based on how these lines look. So Merry Christmas, Canadians. You're going to get a big old chunk of America for Christmas. So just like that, Alaska is Canadian, Canada is huge, but they're not going to get away with this too easily because we have to address this issue over here. Maine and New Brunswick right here, it just doesn't look good, so we're going to erase that border and give it to the United States, making a nice little river border right here. So just like that, North America is looking great, but now we have to go down to Mexico, where there's only one little change that I'm going to make. This for the most part follows the Rio Grande, which is great. Over here, this is through a bunch of purchases and stuff, and of course we got California through the Mexican-American War, but we have North California and not South California, and South California in this case being Baja California. So let's go ahead and just cut it off from Mexico and give it to the United States. So just like that, you know, maybe I don't like that straight line right here, but it's whatever. The Baja California area goes to the United States, making California whole again. Now we go down to Central America. Now there aren't going to be too many major changes I make here, simply because I like the borders in this region. But if I had to choose to like maybe get rid of a country, it would be Belize, and I would give them over to Guatemala. Or maybe I'd just give Guatemala to Belize, I don't know. But that already looks a lot better in terms of countries. I would maybe unite Honduras and El Salvador into one country. But other than that, Central America looks great. As for Hispaniola, they are going to get united together. I know the languages are different, but hey, it's whatever. Looks better on the map, one whole island under one country. Now we go down to South America, and honestly there aren't going to be many changes here because South America looks great in terms of borders. I think the only thing I'll probably end up doing here is uniting together all three of these countries. Then I'm definitely going to be fixing this border situation over here with Brazil and Colombia because it looks horrible. So let's go ahead and draw them up a new border, which looks a little bit more natural. Of course, Colombia will be getting more land here, Brazil will be losing land, but in terms of how important that land is, it's not that big of a difference. So Colombia will get all of this land from Brazil, and Peru will get this little panhandle thing from Colombia. So just like that, looking a lot better. Going through the rest of South America here, there's only one little thing, actually two things that I'm going to change. First of all, Argentina's little panhandle, I do not like it, so we're going to give it over to Brazil. Actually, we're going to give some of it over to Paraguay as well. So just like that, that's looking a lot better. Argentina's panhandle right there is very annoying, and I'm sure it has some colonial meaning, but I mean, look at that. It just looks great. And the last change I'm making over here is to do with Argentina once again. So they own this little slither of land right here, and it doesn't make any sense because this is Chile, this is Argentina, and then this is also Argentina. So Chile will be getting this piece of land, but don't worry yet, Argentina, because you are going to get your Falklands back. That's right, the UK has no reason to even own this. So yeah, Argentina, that goes to you. You might even get this island as well. South Georgia and Sandwich Island, I think is what it's called. Just like that, the Americas are done with. Obviously, there's not that many countries over here, so we're going to go ahead and get to the bulk of countries over here in the old world. But first, let's go ahead and make something very clear here. That's Iceland. This is Greenland. There we go. So now starting off with the UK. Everyone saw this coming. Northern Ireland, it goes back to Ireland. It just looks bad on the map. Also, it just makes sense for them to be together again. Down to Iberia, nothing is going to change here. Up to France, we are going to have something going on here with the three countries in Benelux. And oh boy, I can't wait to hear it again, but I'm going to go ahead and divide up Belgium here. I don't care if your line is wrong. This was a problem in the last Fixing the Borders of the World video. But there's that. And then Luxembourg will go over to... I'm actually going to give them to France. And also, I don't like this line, so I'm going to change your line. It's going to go up a little bit just to make it look a little bit better. And that's a lot more acceptable. Also, if you haven't noticed already, which I don't know how you would notice unless you're like stalking me, in which case, please stop. I have a new monitor, which is like a lot bigger than my old one. It's like this much taller. So the camera angle is going to be up a little bit like this, which honestly, I think it looks better already. My new monitor is 10 times better than my old monitor. I can actually like be immersed into it because it's a lot bigger. Also, it's curved, so I'm still getting used to that. But yeah, so camera angle looks a little different, but honestly, so far I think it looks pretty good. Also, I did adjust something in OBS to make my my canvas a lot more visible by you guys. So before, it was a lot less visible. I had to like cut out the edges, like a big chunk of the edges, so the camera angle would sometimes be weird. But now you're actually pretty much seeing what exactly I'm seeing. I had to cut off the bars at the top, like the toolbar at the top and the toolbar at the bottom, just so you don't see that for obvious reasons. But other than that, what you see now is exactly what I see. That wasn't the case before. But now getting back to the fixing the borders video, we're gonna go up to Scandinavia and actually going over to the Nordic area instead of Scandinavia, because Scandinavia is like these guys, not including Finland. So the Nordic region, Finland is going to get access to the North Sea. Norway is no longer going to cut them off with their really weird border, and instead Finland gets access. Staying on the topic of Finland, they're also going to get a big portion of Russia. So drawing a new line here, going down and meeting up with this big old lake right here, it is now going to extend further into Russia. So that's looking a lot better in terms of Finland. With the border between Norway and Sweden, it looks just fine. So no changes there, but now we head on down to the Baltics, and as per every AdizzPro video that doesn't involve them dying, they are going to unite together into one Baltic Legion. Looks a lot better, looks a lot stronger, and looks a lot more sustainable. Now over to Poland, they are going to get Kaliningrad here. Now I was debating whether to give this to the Baltic region or to Poland. I think it's just better just to give it to Poland here. They deserve it after what's been done to them. Down to Czechia and Slovakia, this is a no-brainer. Unite them together into Czechoslovakia, as well as give them their land back in Ukraine. Alright, Europe is looking a lot more familiar. Now we go down to Austria and Hungary, and once again, a no-brainer. Let's unite them together. Alright, well, I did a little bit more than just unite them together, but it's fine. It's Austria-Hungary. No one can complain about that. They are missing land in Czechia and Slovakia, but they're Czechoslovakia, and you can't touch that, so it's all good. So the Balkans are pissed, and understandably so. So let's make them happy by recognizing Kosovo and giving it to Albania. Yup. Bulgaria will get land out of North Macedonia. We also have New Albania getting land out of North Macedonia, as well as Serbia. And then whatever remains goes over to Greece. Sorry, North Macedonians, you are now just normal Macedonians. Alright, Romania, you are going to get Moldova. No reason you should be a part, and in addition to getting Moldova, you will also get your old land back from Ukraine. So it looks something like that. That's probably not exact, but it's good enough. But this border with Ukraine also not looking too hot. So let's go ahead and give you this area right here. I know Odessa is a major city for Ukraine, but we're not focusing on that. We're focusing in on borders. While we're at it, I'm gonna go ahead and redraw this line because it looks absolutely horrible. Alright, that's slightly more acceptable, but not perfect. Bulgaria is gonna give up this little panhandle over here to Serbia, and the Balkans are done to everyone's disgrace. Doesn't look too great. Actually, I'm going to give over a little bit of Kosovo to Serbia just to make the Serbs and the Albanians happy for a compromise. Serbia looks a lot better now. All right, moving on. Belarus, honestly, your borders are great, so I'm not going to touch them aside from giving this over to yourself. So Russia will lose a little bit of land to Belarus here. And this little thing right here is unacceptable, so I'm going to go ahead and give it over to the Baltics. As for Ukraine, they have lost a lot of land here, and honestly, their border not too hot. So after making some changes, it looks a little bit more natural, although not perfect. So let's go ahead and just give up a little bit of your land over to, I guess Czechoslovakia, actually. Oh yeah. That's nice. A nice long Czechoslovakia. Now we go down to the Caucasus. Now there's going to be some obvious changes here that are going to upset a lot of people, but I do not care. So Armenia will get over Azerbaijan's exclave. Don't cry about it, please. And in return, Azerbaijan will get a chunk out of Georgia. And now everyone's happy except for Georgia. Turkey, you're going to have to give up your piece of land over here to both Bulgaria and Greece. Doesn't look good on the map, so it's going over to them. All right, the Middle East. Syria, you'll get this piece of Turkey. Lebanon, Palestine, unfortunately for you, you're going to get split up. Palestine, you're going to go over to Israel, or I guess Israel is going to go to Palestine, whichever one makes you happier. And as for Lebanon, you're going to be split in half between Syria and Israelistan. As for Qatar, you're going over to Saudi Arabia. You don't look right on the map, so now you look, I guess, more acceptable. Kuwait and Iraq will unite into one country. The US stopped this a couple of years ago, but they can't stop it now. As for the rest of these borders, they look absolutely fine. So now let's go ahead and jump over to Asia, where we have to address an issue. Yeah, this region looks absolutely horrible. So let's attempt to fix it by giving this piece of Uzbekistan over to, well, we're going to be giving it to a new union, a very unlikely union. So yeah, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan will be uniting into one country. Extremely unlikely and possible most likely. But in this scenario, they're gonna have to get over it because I am God in this scenario. Turkmenistan, this little thing right here doesn't look good, so we're gonna be giving that land over to Kazakhstan. Speaking of Kazakhstan, they're being kind of unfair to Uzbekistan, who has no access to the Caspian Sea. So this country, which is double landlocked, will now become only, I guess, landlocked. Nope, they're still double landlocked. Never mind. Also, what is even happening right here? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make this border better. There we go. And as a matter of fact, sink it into the ocean. All right, this region is looking a lot better. Now down to, I guess, southern Central Asia with Afghanistan. Their borders look okay. I'm not gonna change them too much, but I will be giving their panhandle to Pakistan. And as far as this region goes, we're going down to, I guess, the Indian subcontinent now. Not too many changes here except for giving Bangladesh to India. That's a pretty major change considering the population of Bangladesh, but it does just look better on a map. And speaking of looking better on a map, Nepal, you're going bye-bye. And Bhutan, you're also going bye-bye, but you're going to China. All right, it's looking a lot more clean over here in Asia. Now down to Southeast Asia, we will have a giant union between Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And for Thailand, they're going to get this little tail of Myanmar. Looks pretty bad on the map, not gonna lie. So it's gonna start here and just go up to the Thai border, and they will be ceded all of this Burmese land. For Malaysia, they're gonna get a little bit of this land that Thailand just got, just to make it look, I guess, slightly more acceptable. I don't really know. So there you go. Speaking of Malaysia, they're gonna lose their entire, I guess, or half of their country. That goes to Indonesia as well as Brunei. And this region of Asia looks a lot better. So now let's go over here where there's going to be literally one change, or actually two changes. That change being South Korea and North Korea uniting into just Korea. And then Japan gets this island back, so they're going to get Sakhalin back, as well as around half of those islands. Alright, so that's Asia all done and dusted. Now we go down to Oceania for literally one change. And that change is going to be Papua New Guinea extending its borders to extend across this entire island. So yeah, I mean, it just looks a lot more solidified and united over here in Asia, especially Southeast Asia. So let's go ahead and tackle the last continent, that being Africa. Now, Africa is an absolute mess, and we have no one to thank except for the Europeans. So let's do this slowly but surely. Now, Western Sahara is a pain in the butt for everyone who does mapping. So let's do something that's kind of fair. We'll just split it up between Mauritania and Morocco. Just like that, looks a lot better. On the topic of Mauritania, this little edge border you have going on, I'm not a fan of it. We'll loosen it up a little bit, give it over to Algeria. That looks a lot better. Over to Tunisia. Honestly, I love how their country looks, so I'm not going to be changing anything there. Same thing with Egypt, except for the fact that the land that is east of the Suez will be going over to Israelistan. All right, moving on over here to Western Africa. Not too many changes going to be taking place. Well, sort of, kind of. The Gambia shouldn't even exist, so it's going to go over to Senegal. We also have Senegal annexing all of Guinea-Bissau. A union takes place between Sierra Leone and Guinea. I didn't forget for a second. Every time I say I didn't forget, that means I did forget. This union will also consist of Liberia. The Ivory Coast looks fine. Mali, you are going to be annexing all of Burkina Faso. And Nigeria will also give you a little bit of their land. Togo and Benin will be uniting into one country, and joining that country is going to be Ghana. I don't like how square these borders are looking, so let's mix it up a little bit. All right, that's better. We'll also give a little bit of land to Niger. Now we move on to, I guess, Central Africa-ish. Cameroon looks like a monstrosity, so we'll fix that up for them. We'll go ahead and cut off their tail and give it to Chad. And as for this region, it doesn't look natural at all. So let's just go ahead and unite it under one whole country. This also includes this little exclave of Angola. And now over to the Horn of Africa. This will be a pretty simple region. Eritrea and Djibouti will be given over to Ethiopia. And then immediately afterwards, we're going to have Eritrea be split in half and given some of it over to Sudan. On the topic of Sudan, they're going to get South Sudan back, or maybe South Sudan gets all of Sudan. We don't know. We'll never know because then someone will get mad at me. All right, that looks better. Now going over to Somalia, they are going to have to give up Somaliland here. And in fact, I'm going to actually give them a lot more land than they do have, I believe. So there they have that. And then now down to southern Central Africa, where we're going to be having a unification between both Uganda and Kenya. We'll have Tanzania annexing both Rwanda and Burundi. The DRC is going to be giving up this really ugly panhandle to Zambia. I always get them mixed up, but not today. Namibia, this looks horrible, so you're going to give it over to Botswana. In South Africa, you're going to be annexing both Lesotho and Eswatini. You're also going to be getting this Mozambique land. While Mozambique is going to be splitting up Malawi, they're going to be getting some of it, while the rest of it is going to go over to Zambia. And just like that, Africa is looking a lot more whole and a lot more better, and that's for the entire world, as a matter of fact. Now I have something to admit to you. the first Fixing the World Borders video was meant to trigger everyone. This one, not so much. So yeah, if you fell for it, shame on you for falling for it, because there was literally no way you could tell that I was making a joke video. So yeah, shame on you for not picking up on an invisible joke. This one is for real. Yeah, so Borders of the World fixed, in my opinion. This looks a lot better. There's probably some areas which could definitely be fixed upon my fixing, which is this area. But other than that, we're looking a lot more solid. Yeah, so that's going to be the last mapping video for this year. Following this, which you'll see on Wednesday, there will be a live stream either on the 29th or the 30th. This is all dependent upon when I work this week, which right now is the 28th, and then I don't know when else because I have to get it fixed. On New Year's Eve, you guys will get a recap video. Yeah, make sure to watch that one because it's important, sort of. And yeah, so live stream on the 29th or 30th, recap video on the 31st. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Aiming for 100k by the end of the year. We only have 5 days left, so let's at least try to get to 90k. We only have 2.5 thousand more to go, and yeah, I think that is definitely possible. So make sure to share this video with people who like it, get them to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, or actually I'll see you in the next live stream.